Let's begin. So, the Dragon Ball Super manga has teased the new arc, and it is called the Galactic Patrol Prisoner arc. Few pages have been published into the arc, with the I think it was the ending of the chapter 42 of Dragon Ball Super manga, and the Tournament of Power has finished officially. And yeah, we've gotten some few pages in this new arc. So, what do we see in this new arc? Majin Buu gets attacked by Maris, I think it's pronounced that way, don't quote me on that, who is the number one elite galactic patroller. Now, Maris actually achieves to zap, quote unquote, Goku and Vegeta and have them go unconscious and kidnaps them to his spaceship. So, when everyone wakes up and all that, it is explained by Maris and Jaco and the rest of the Galactic Patrol. The plan that they need Grand Kaioshin from Majin Buu for sorry for the escaped prisoner. Now the escaped prisoner has been teased, and we know how he looks. He's like a goat, if you have seen him all over on social media, and that's pretty cool actually, because most of the quote unquote bad guys we got on Dragon Ball Super were either Goku Black and people that look like people, or we got on the usual trope of someone looking like Frieza or Cell with the round ears and all that. Oh, hey there, Rage. Hope you're fine. We're talking about the new arc, the Galactic Patrol Prisoner arc in the manga. And that's pretty much the plot that we got from this chapter. So, what can we keep from it? The first point that it's a bit controversial, let's say, is that Mary sneaks up both on Goku and Vegeta and manages to zap them out. And that was not really well received, and I can see why, because, we have the power escalation problem with Dragon Ball Super, that the powers have gotten so much crazier and so much, bigger and stronger. And we can't really accept that someone, even if he's the number one in the Galactic Patrol, can zap Goku and Vegeta and make them unconscious just like that, with a snap of his finger. And that's gonna be not just a problem of this manga chapter or the future manga chapters or whatever, but it's gonna be the problem for the rest of the Dragon Ball Super series if it comes back with the Dragon Ball Super name. And yeah, besides that point, we've got the usual point of Toyotaro's art. Now you can watch TotallyNotMark's videos on the Dragon Ball Super manga, and why in some points it is pretty bad. And he pretty much explains that Toyotaro sometimes traces and sometimes draws heavy inspiration from referencing old Toriyama's art, and that cannot be quite a good thing. And well, but I don't want to spoil the videos that Totally Not Mark made. I could link them in the end of this podcast. Actually, maybe I will link them in the description below right after this podcast is over. Anyways, so at least up to this point, Toyotaro's art is pretty good in this chapter. It's not as cluttered and as much of a mess as it was in the Tournament of Power arc. And oh my god, the reaction shots, there were like 100 million of them. But yeah, anyways, yeah, let's see what the chat is all about. So Raid says, You think that Kid Buu will come back somehow? Hmm. I wouldn't like. I don't know. I wouldn't like. I wouldn't say so, but Dragon Ball Super has this reputation of bringing back old bad guys. So that could be a plot point. Maybe this prisoner that has been teased can have some magic powers that can drive like the evil out of you. I don't know, whatever. So we could see another Kid Buu emerging or something like that. Panda says, "Oh, Midzi, your accent is so hot." Well, I don't know. Is Greek's accent so hot? I don't think so. Uh, um, Raids asks, Raids asks, Whis versus Broly. Um, I don't know. Do you mean like if we're gonna see it in the movie or in general, Whis versus Broly? I won't go into power the power scaling debate because we haven't seen what Broly can do, and we actually haven't seen the potential of Whis yet. We don't know how many things he can do. John says, I hope there'll be less people involved in the final battle, so we don't get that many reaction shots. Yeah, man. I don't know. I don't think that the environment of Tournament of Power um created the need for so many reaction shots. I mean, Toriyama's artwork in general is pretty, and don't get me wrong on what I'm going to say, it can be simplistic. And what I'm trying to imply with that is that he doesn't like overshoot it with 100 panels per page or something like that. He wants to create an atmosphere, so he does the established shots, like watching people that are ready to fight and having the pretty far away camera angle so that you know what the environment is and how they're going to fight or how they're going to use their environment. You've got the usual reaction shots that should be used sparingly, and the fights that should be somewhat um, eye candy so that they please you choreographically. And that's something that Toyotaro really lacks, at least in the Tournament of Power arc. All of his fights are so boring. They don't create, unique lines between each and every panel. It's just boring, and it's such a shame, man. Such a shame. Yeah, I went on and on about that. Raid says, I hope Goku and Vegeta will go to Planet Sadala. I hope so too, man. I mean, this arc was teased way back in the Universe 6 versus 7 arc, and I wanna see it. I wanna see what the Saiyans are like in the Universe 6. But not only that, I wanna see the planet Namek. I wanna see it said everything. you know. Artwork says, I don't know anything about these new characters, so I don't know what's going on. I also didn't watch the Tournament of Power arc, so I am even more lost. um, I can't do much about the Tournament of Fire arc. I mean, a lot of things happened in that arc, but for better understanding at what I just said, I pretty much explained that even if you do have 80 fighters going at it, um, at the same time, it doesn't mean that you have to make your manga panels so cluttered and have them so, how can I say it? Have them look so rough, like they have too much graphical noise and too many lines obstructing what you want to see. It's not a good thing to do when you have like 12 panels in the same page. Toriyama used to do something like 6 or 7 on an average page. It just looks bad. Zan says, I think it's kind of weird how Goku and Vegeta are multi-universal in power, but the Galactic Patrolman can knock them out, even it's with an anesthetic gun. It just feels off. And yeah, I do agree with that. And with all the things and the feats that Goku and Vegeta have done in this series, it just looks really off. But I don't want to go too hard on that because we haven't seen what Maris can do and what his abilities are. Maybe he's something, maybe he's like Dispo and he's extra sneaky or something, or they can't sense his energy. I don't know. And Raid says, how will Frieza and Whis get involved in this? If you mean with a new arc, I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see. Artwork says, yeah, that is a bit weird. Yeah, it is. And yeah, what I want to say actually, what I want to talk about also is the speculation of what this prisoner actually is. And we have seen his design. He looks like a goat man, or some people jokingly said the Krampus. And I want your opinion, guys, on what he is and why he was kept in prison and why do they need Grand Kaioshin to seal him away or something like that. If you want my opinion, I have two versions that I think they are likely. Yeah, Artwork-san, don't worry. We'll be right here. Yeah, I've got two versions that I think are really likely. One, he's a god of a past god of destruction, either of the remaining universes or some of the universes that got erased, and he somehow, lived through it, or I don't know. And why do I think so? I think so because of his design, mostly. Most of the God of Destructions have some kind of animalistic design and some kind of animal reference. So the quote unquote Goatman in the Dragon Ball Super manga looks pretty much like a God of Destruction in my book. But yeah, that he could be a God of Destruction or he could be something completely else. What I do think he could be also is just a generic prisoner that has done something that connects with either the Super franchise or something that has happened in the Dragon Ball franchise in general, and we didn't really realize it, and that he's actually not that strong, but maybe his strong points are he's cunning and manipulative, and maybe he's got some magic powers or something like that. I think it's pretty likely that he has some kind of magic tricks up his sleeve because his design looks so. How can I describe it? He looks like a god of destruction's version of Master Roshi. And what I do mean about that is that Master Roshi might not be that strong, he might not be multi-universal or whatever, but he's got the experience and he's got some weird tricks up his sleeve, mostly seen back in the Dragon Ball franchise, the original one. So yeah, he could be something like that. Yeah. Those are my two versions of what could happen. Raid says, if my character was in Dragon Ball Super, the arc would be the extinction arc. What do you think? Pretty cool, man. I don't know really what your character is about or uh, any specific details, but just by the name of it, it sounds cool. Zan says he looks old, angry, and like an animal. Yeah, pretty much that. Perfect description. And yeah, one thing that I want to talk about also is whether Toyotaro will get the lead, let's say, when it comes to the new arcs in Dragon Ball Super. And that is a debate that's been going on. And whether or so should be done or not. I don't know. I'm not sure. Um, I'm kinda, let's say, divided. What I didn't like about Dragon Ball Super is they did things like Dragon Ball GT. And what do I mean by that? A lot of things that happened in Dragon Ball GT had so much potential when it came to realizing them, but most of them pretty much failed. And Dragon Ball Super, I don't think is so different. Yeah, it's better, quote unquote, than GT, but there were so many good stuff that could happen in Dragon Ball Super that never did because the team consisted of like 60 freaking writers or something like that. And that really angers me because you can't really find the fault. You can't really fault one writer because of his interpretation of the arc or whatever he did. You need to have a small team, and yeah, has not exhibited the best qualities when it comes to his artworks or his work ethic, which I do hope and believe he will try to not make the same mistakes again. But yeah, I think it would be more consistent if, for example, Toyotaro worked on the manga and Toei Animation just did the adaptation of the manga from here on out. Now, do I think this will be done? I'm not sure. Honestly, I'm not sure. These are strange waters that the Dragon Ball Super franchise is in right now. So I think each and every prediction is likely to happen. um, hey, artwork. So you're saying I'm back? So we're talking about the art of the manga. Well, I'm just referencing it for to make a point for Toyotaro and his skills in general. Now, oh, and what I forgot, I wanted to say anyways, was that even though Toyotaro is not like the best in his work ethics, I think that his twist in the Dragon Ball Super franchise, when it comes to using the powers and the Super Saiyan Gold and Super Saiyan Blue and all that, was a bit more creative than what we got in the anime version. So I really wish that if he keeps this creativity and really um, reevaluates his work ethics, I think he should be a writer for Dragon Ball Super. And yeah, I know it's a bit controversial to say it like that, but I would prefer one man uh, and making mistakes and making really good parts, in contrast to 60 people working on a franchise and not having any real correlation with each other. The best example of the narrative being twisted constantly was the Goku Black arc. Goku Black arc was such a mess when it came to the anime version. The team went back in time, then went forward in time. They were even the fight was wishy-washy. Most people didn't know what should they do with the characters that they had in their hands. So it just came out pretty, and how should I say it, um messy anyways. Yeah, so Raid says my character is an unknown creature called Project Komodo, aka the Blood Yauchita Dragon. Yauchita, 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 I don't know how to pronounce this, is the actual name of the predator. Um, yeah, that sounds pretty cool. It reminds me of the SCP Foundation. The fan-made game slash Wikipedia articles of unknown creatures being held by, Illuminati or whatever, and they have magical um, elements to them. Yeah. Anyways, artwork says, "I'm not a fan of Toyotaro's art style. I prefer Toriyama's." Well, yeah, I think most of us prefer Toriyama's artwork, but I wouldn't mind if Toyotaro did the art for Dragon Ball Super like for many years um, to come. But I want him to improve his ethics when it comes to referencing and tracing and all this sort of stuff, and wanting to see more original content that, yeah, draws inspiration from the old content, but not in a visual way. I mean, Toriyama was a master of uh, how can I say it? Yeah, manga panel composition, and he used like his character's movement to his own advantage. And when you read the Dragon Ball manga, it felt like you were watching a moving picture. I can't really describe it better than that. But Toyotaro's version lacks that feeling that is prevailing in the Toriyama's um, manga. Um, hey there, Pyrock. I hope I pronounce your name correctly. It's me, Raid. Oh, it's you, Raid. Okay. And Artwork says, "I have to go and eat breakfast, so bye." Bye bye, Artwork. No worries. Have a nice breakfast. Yeah, it's weird. So Artwork is from Arizona and she's having breakfast right now. And I, in 1 or 2 hours, I'm going to have my dinner. So that's time differences for you. Um, yeah, that's all I had to say actually about the new arc, and what uh, were my thoughts on it. I don't know. Do you guys want anything else for me to say, or do you want anything else to discuss about this Galactic Patrol prisoner arc, or do you think we should call it off and end it for today? Okay, since I don't get much on the chat, I think we should end this live stream now. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm sorry for the lack of music and fancy stuff for you to see in your screen, but I have my streaming problems. But I hope you enjoyed this conversation, and anything you want to contribute, you can comment down below what your thoughts were about the new Galactic Patrol prisoner arc. Do you think it has potential, and do you think that Toyotaro would take the mantle for writing both the manga and subsequently the anime version of Dragon Ball Super? Yeah, give me your thoughts down below, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye, everyone, and I hope you had some good time.